since the self is illusional, what is the point of leaving a legacy? Why should we do something in our lives, right, for the sake of something that no one will ever remember or no one will ever care about in 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? Like, why cause all this suffering now? Like, what is the point, right?
Well, see, I get what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying I hold that same opinion, right?
No. Well, I hold that opinion so long as the way it's phrased is you shouldn't live your life to leave a legacy. Your reason for leaving a legacy shouldn't be to leave a legacy. Your reason for leaving a legacy should be, I want to make the world as much of a better place as possible, and as a byproduct of that, I'm going to leave a legacy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode number 58 of the Conscious Cast. I'm your host, Cal, along with my other boy, Mr. Jason Scalora. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about legacy. And a couple of weeks ago, I went to a land trust, and we were talking about what is the meaning of sacrifice. And during the conversation, it pretty much came up how we were studying Course in Miracles. I'm not too sure how popular it is, but pretty much
What is it called?
Course of Miracles. It's pretty much like it's an Eastern based philosophy on.
Is it more religious, or is it just philosophy written?
I think it's more. I think it's like a mixture. I'm not too aware and educated enough.
Basically,
in the area.
like a philosophy textbook. Essentially,
I think so. Yeah, I mean,
sense.
it's very similar. I mean, they have like a holy book, I guess you could say. They have like a holy type of scripture that was apparently like channeled in, very similar to like Muhammad and the people that wrote the Bible. But pretty much we were just talking, and it's like an Eastern based philosophy on non-duality, and pretty much when we were talking, we came to the conclusion, we both hold the conclusion that like the self is illusional, right? The identity self is illusional, even though we operate within that domain, right? And we utilize it. And so pretty much we came to the point, and like I don't remember this exactly, and I don't remember how exactly it came up, but roughly it was pretty much based on how, since the self is illusional, what is the point of leaving a legacy, right? Like, why should we do something in our lives, right, for the sake of something that no one will ever remember or no one will ever care about in 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? Like, why cause all this suffering now? And like, what is the point, right?
Well, see, I get what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying I hold that same opinion, right?
No. Well, I hold that opinion so long as the way it's phrased is you shouldn't live your life to leave a legacy.
Yeah.
Your reason for leaving a legacy shouldn't be to leave a legacy. Your reason for leaving a legacy should be, I want to make the world as much of a better place as possible. And as a byproduct of that, I'm going to leave a legacy. My opinion with this whole legacy thing is like, when it comes to people that have changed the world and left a legacy for the good, and they've made a positive impact, they didn't set out to leave a legacy. Their outcome they were after is something totally different than a legacy. A legacy comes as a byproduct of that, right? Of adding enough value to the world, positively or negatively, and a legacy is a byproduct of that.
Yeah.
And I think people who are after legacies, you might have somebody like the first thing that comes to my mind. Do you know who Andrew Tate is?
Yeah.
Internet sensation. Just, I mean, like, I don't disagree with everything he says, but most of the things he says about women
a lot.
and relationships and like
he's
that kind of stuff
about a lot of things. Yeah.
Right. In my eyes, like, you can't look. I don't know how he was brought up, and I have complete empathy. And it's not like I think I'm a bigger man than you. You could probably kick my ass. You probably have hundreds of more millions of dollars. But like, to me, that shit doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. And like, if you think that matters, then that's great. That's your paradigm. That's your blueprint of the world, and that's fine. But in my eyes, it's like, it's hard to not look at somebody like that and think they just want views. They just want people to know their name, right? And you might throw the argument out there of like, well, Andrew Tate doesn't even have a TikTok account. I just think that's part of like the ego arrogance. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because if you truly believe you're out here to spread a positive message and to make the world a better place, like, and you're an internet sensation, like, you're going to be on these platforms trying to spread a good message. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not hopping on Barstool podcast to express sexism in a funny way so that dudes follow along in your footsteps.
Yeah, and I think like that distinction that you made there is like that's the most important one, because I completely agree with you. Because if your intention is to leave a legacy, right? Maybe in some universe you do leave a legacy, but that legacy, and I'm willing to bet money on this, won't be nearly as good as if you just wanted to do something in itself, like, I don't know, an activism type of thing, or, you know, just make a positive impact on the world.
Right.
That legacy that you intended to set out for, like, for instance, LeBron James, like, he wants to be, he says he's the GOAT, right? Like, his intention is to be the GOAT, right? And I don't know, when a lot of people say that, like, so to finish up that last point, like, if your intention is to have a legacy, right, that legacy won't, in my opinion, be as good as a legacy that is just done solely in itself. And the person that's doing that type of process doesn't necessarily care about the legacy.
Well, you
right?
can't even leave a legacy if you're not doing anything except trying to leave a legacy. Because then you're just trying to get people to know your
that
name.
will be your legacy.
Right. Well, it's like that doesn't even make any that doesn't
Yeah.
exist. That doesn't make any sense. Like, if I leave a legacy as a life coach, I'm not going to be like, I needed life coaching as the vessel to leave my legacy, or content creation as a vessel to leave my legacy. And unless I do those things, like, I'm not going to leave a legacy. But not for nothing. It's like, to me, if you want to have an amazing impact on the world, the people that I listen to the most and the people that I speak to the most that are leaving a legacy, that are making a positive impact on the world, are not people that are setting out to leave a legacy. They don't have the egoic drive to want to feel significant by this or that many amount of people, or for millions of people to like their video, or for billions and billions of people from generations till the end of the world remembers their name. Like, that's not, like, the best example, whether or not you're religious or not, it doesn't really matter. Just the story in and of itself as a metaphor is Jesus.
Yeah.
If you look at the way, like, let's say you believe it's all a lie. It's all dudes that were tripping on mushrooms when they were in the BCs and they were writing these stories. If that's what you think, that's fine.
Right, hell of a story.
Right. I disagree. Yeah. But that has nothing to do with it. My point is Jesus Christ lived his life in a way where everything he did was to make everybody else's life better. Right? And he left the biggest legacy on humanity. Whether or not you are Christian or spiritual or religious or not, it doesn't matter. Jesus Christ has the biggest legacy anybody has ever had ever. If they had Amazon and New York Times best-selling books every year, the Bible would destroy every book every year without missing. Destroy. The point is when you live like that, when you live like Jesus would, or whatever your ideal is, when you live in that ideal to make the world a better place, you will leave a legacy. But it won't be because you're after a legacy. It will be because you're after making the world a better place, and you're doing it much more efficiently than everybody else is. Yeah. Does that make sense?
100%. And I think especially with the Jesus example too, it's just, when you hear that type of story, like, he died for everyone else's, like, sins pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen a movie about the story and I've read parts of the Bible. Right. But just, I don't remember the story off the top of my head, but I remember when I was, like, listening to someone that told me the story, I was just like, holy shit, man. It's like, it puts into perspective their legacy, right? And it puts into perspective just, like, it just puts into perspective that what they did was so valuable and so, like, awe-dropping, you know? It just really makes you take a step back and think about, like, wow, if they could do that, maybe, I mean, maybe not to the same extent, but it's like, you look at it as a vessel of hope, right? You look at it as a vessel of possibility, right? As an ideal, exactly. And this is something that's very good about legacy, right? We can look back on someone's legacy, see how far they went, see what they did, right? And see how it served humanity, right? And so that can serve as a cornerstone for you to be inspired and to start maybe going into something in your own life, right? 100%. And to maybe not have the intention to be like, I'm going to leave a legacy, right? But I also do think, like some people like that want to leave a legacy behind for their kids, or they want to leave a legacy behind for their, like, in the workplace or whatever. Like, I don't know, because I think maybe it's just not this or that, you know? I think
it all comes down to, is the reason why you want to leave a legacy because you have a desire to feel significant?
Yeah.
Because in your mind and in your body, you don't feel like you're good enough?
Yep.
Or is it you want to leave a legacy so that everybody else will live a better life?
Yeah.
It's either one or the other.
Yeah.
Like, that's really it.
Yeah.
And not for nothing, if you look at anybody who's going after a legacy because they want a legacy, because they want to feel significant or cool or whatever, how many of those people are happy? Think about it. Like, perfect example, Mike Tyson. And you can hear him talk about his story. Like, do your own research. When he talks about who he was, when he was one of the best boxers in the world, arguably the best boxer in the world, he had a bitch of a time. He was not enjoying himself. It leaves scars on him to this day. He can't win every battle with. And how old is he now? Is he in 60s maybe?
I'd say like mid-50s.
Mid-50s,
Yeah.
maybe 60s?
Yeah.
Either way, he is still dealing with the type of person he used to be. Because all he wanted to do was destroy, and feel significant.
Yeah.
Because he grew up with the opposite. He grew up always feeling insufficient. Although he could kick people's asses, it's more than that. And he has to deal with it even now, right? But the point is when he was after a legacy, when he was after those feelings of significance, he fucked himself. And his life was way worse than you would imagine. Because if you spent a day in his shoes, or so as he describes, you would never want to live another day in Mike Tyson's shoes, regardless of the material wealth, regardless of the boxing accolades, regardless of everybody paying for pay-per-views just to watch you knock somebody out in 10 seconds and having all these amazing stats and being in the newspaper and whatever. You wouldn't want to spend a day in his shoes because he was fucking miserable. It doesn't matter all the material wealth and successes he has. You would never trade for that kind of life. And that's the person that was after the legacy, and that's the person that got it because he wanted it. And if you are after those kinds of things, you really need to listen to those stories and then rethink severely why you're going after the things you're after. And it doesn't even matter if it's legacy. If you're after significance, you're fucked. You're fucked in every way. Because the number one way you see it, Instagram, TikTok, shaking your ass. You want people to like and comment and tell you how hot you are. Because you have this desire for significance because you don't feel like you're good enough. And that's fine. But it's going to lead you to a terrible, terrible quality of life. And unless you unless you switch up your paradigm, you're forever going to be chasing something that you're never going to get, which is the positive, fulfilling emotions that you're actually after.
Yeah. And I love like great statement there. And I think we talked about this on the Monster episode, right? The difference between Hitler and MLK, right? And how these two individuals, highly intelligent, pretty much geniuses, right? Have great ability to influence people, have great ability to make change. And they made change, right, in their own ways, right? But one person uses that same type of ability, right, skills, and uses it towards an end that's very negative, right? And I think, at least in my research, Hitler was very egoically driven, right? In terms of he wanted to conquer the world, right? And so he would pretty much take over some land, right? And he'd be like, okay, what's next, right? And just keep going and going. And like, maybe not some land, but like just more power, right? And he just like wanted more and more and more and more. And anybody that really threatened that, or anybody that really tried to take that away felt threatened, right? Versus MLK, right? Genius. Like, as we said before, highly skilled individual, right? Towards a positive end. And that same type of, I guess you could say, ability was used and obviously, in my opinion, and not in an egoic manner, right? And so you could see when a legacy is backed by ego, right? I want to leave a legacy behind, just to show how great I was at conquering other people or something like that. Or I wanted to leave a legacy behind so I could see black people be just as equal as everyone else, right? Ego versus no ego, right? And so when I say ego there, it's really just about you putting that, when you involve your ego with your legacy, it's all about you. But when you say no ego, no ego behind your legacy, right? It's not about you, right? The legacy for Hitler is pointing this way, right? But the legacy for MLK is pointing that way, right? And it's impacting change out there in society, right? And so there's a big distinction there. And the legacy backed by ego that goes inwards, right, has different consequences than the legacy that goes outwards, right? Because that legacy, you're both going to leave behind legacies, right? But most likely, the legacy that's going to be cherished and the legacy that's going to be really picked up by people, and when you're thought of, right, is most likely going to be the ego, or is going to be the legacy that's not backed by ego.
Right. I mean, but I don't. Can you name one person that has left a legacy because they want to leave a legacy that had a positive impact?
Can you say your question one more time?
Do you know of any people in history that were after the feelings of significance and after the legacy in and of itself, who left a good legacy that made the world a better place? Can you think of one?
I mean, not off the top of my head, no.
You can't.
Yeah.
Because unless you're in service of the world and in service of other people, you're never going to leave a good legacy. As corny as it sounds, no matter what you do, if it doesn't align for the good, you're never going to leave a positive legacy.
Yeah.
Because going after the legacy in and of itself is not good.
Mm-hmm.
You just want feelings of significance, and what you're really after is love.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And you're most likely not going to be remembered, right? You're like, for you to really be, I mean, depending on it depends on the scale, and like, you want to be known globally. Do you want to be remembered in your family? Do you want to be remembered in your small friend group right after you go? I mean, it really depends, but most likely after all your friends die, or after, the next generation goes, most likely that you're not going to be remembered. And for you to be significantly remembered in your family, you're going to have to do something that is so exponentially great, right? And so impacting. I mean, I don't want to say it's pointless, but I think if your main drive behind what you're doing is solely out of legacy, you're not going to be doing what you're doing for very long, right? Mm-hmm. And because I know people a lot of times, and this just be just about legacy itself, it can be a huge motivator, right? Like, I remember I was talking to Mario here, and I forget, I think he was talking about just one of his like family members passed, and he's like, the torch was passed to me, right? And it's like, now it's my time to step up to the plate and really, carry on the family name, right? And that could be a huge motivator. And in that sense, I mean, that's like him carrying on the family legacy, right? And so I think it can, it's not a black and white issue by any means, right? It's highly situational how you're using it, but I think ultimately, like, you got to realize that you can't do something solely because of legacy, right? You can't do it solely because of just being remembered, right? Like, you gotta have, I mean, it's cool. Like, if you want to do it for your family name, if you want to do it to leave behind something for your future kids or impact society, absolutely, right? But I think you really got to realize that what is real and what is actually going to be there is, it's not going to actually be there, right?
You just got to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do what you're doing?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if your true, honest to God answer in your soul is, I feel inadequate, so I want people to give me love and attention, that's very different than I want to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Two very different things. You can lie and give the typical answer of, I just want to help people. No, you want a couple $1 million. Like, just be real.
Yeah, and you'll think it's like, right, I really want to help people, right? I really want to make an impact.
You can lie to yourself enough to get to that place.
Yeah, you could really make yourself believe, for sure.
If you're that type of person and you're depressed, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's really off. If you're the person that's saying, no, I just want to help people, but inside it's because you're after the feelings of significance and getting attention and love from people, you're not going to have a high quality of life. Yeah. There's just no way around that. Yeah. So you can lie to yourself all you want. When you cry yourself to sleep and are walking around the world every single day miserable, the reason why is because you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else.
All right, ready?
Cut! Ooh. Uncut. This next clip is basically about the importance of having funny friends. Friends that you can laugh and have a fucking amazing time with and just bullshit and talk about random shit with and just enjoy your life about.
Have that friend in your friend group. I've got a bunch of them out here. Zach, specifically, it doesn't matter what's happened in my day. I can have had the shittest day. And then within 2 minutes of being with him, he's either done something stupid or told me about some ridiculous story. And it does remind you, look, that all of this stuff that you are treating with cosmic significance probably doesn't really matter that much.
Aubrey talks about it in the other clip where he talks about, like, you should take life in a manner of like a competitive game.
Yep.
Like if you and I are playing 1v1 basketball, you and I are going to be playing like our lives depend on it. That's how competitive we're going to play. And it's going to be awesome, and we're going to fucking get salty, and we're going to get super competitive and shitty. And then after the game's over, we're dapping up. Good game, bro.
Yeah.
Regardless of who wins, regardless of what happens, whatever. And you got to take life the same way. Or at least I think you should. Because if you could take life of, this is a game in terms of how much money can I make? How many people can I help? How much can I do here? How successful can I be in these areas of life? Spirituality, and my relationships, and my finances and career, and all these things. Play it like it's a game. Go all out. But don't forget that in reality, none of it matters. Don't get so lost up in the progress mindset of you can't kick back with a couple boys and just fucking laugh your ass off.
Yeah, because those moments are just as important as you chasing money, chasing spiritual growth, chasing mental health awareness week for underprivileged children in South Africa.
This was a good clip! Fuck!
Those moments are just as important as you chasing money, as you chasing spiritual growth, right? And if you're not able to just hang out with your friends, be in the moment, right? Relax. Let all these responsibilities, obligations go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they're not important obligations. I'm not saying they're not things that you need to get done, or you need to like completely put all your dreams away, right?
But you just got to find what your balance is.
Exactly.
Too many people, especially the people that I know are watching this, because this was my problem for the past 3 years, is you're just spending so much time and energy focused on go, let's achieve, let's make progress, let's get better, that you're not spending enough time just fucking laughing and enjoying yourself. Yeah. It sounds so corny, but it's like, dude, how many people who have experienced life that are in their 80s and 90s who were even uber successful that are saying the same thing? Like, don't wait until you're 75 years old and you're finished to start laughing and enjoying.
Yeah, how important will it be to know, like, at the end of your life, like how looking back, like how important would it really be if you spent all these years just, I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't. How important would it be if you just didn't spend any time not hanging out with friends, enjoying yourself, right?
100%.
Not saying that you shouldn't work hard, right? You shouldn't do all these things, but like, was it really worth it?
Right. I mean, this is the message that I want to give, especially to the younger crowd that are listening, is like, dude, I have this conversation with my friend Alex all the time. He's a workaholic. He just wants money, right? And he's so driven by it that it's making him regret his college career already. He's going into his senior year, and he already regrets the past 3 years because he hasn't done shit to enjoy himself. Yeah. Maybe a party here and there once or twice a year. It's like, fucking go out there and live your life. Yeah. Don't wait till you're 60, 65 years old to look back and be like, fuck, I should have spent my time doing things I loved. Yeah. I should have spent more time with my friends and family. I should have spent more time laughing and enjoying and experiencing love and the beauty of life. Yeah. It sounds so corny and overused and cliche, but don't wait till you're older and wise to figure it out. You have enough books and podcasts and seminars and any content you can search up on the internet for free to consume, to download those lessons into your life already, to download that wisdom now. Don't wait till you're older. That's why I'm living my life the way I'm living my life. People look at me as such a contradiction because I am. Because I'll wake up and the first half, 3/4 of my day is grind, head down, building my business, building my brand, helping as many people as I can, coaching, doing all these things. But then 3 of the 7 nights a week, I'm out having fun. I'll go to a party. I'll go to a bar, right? I'm willing to start waking up at 9, 10 in the morning instead of 4 in the morning and hitting the gym if that means I get to play FIFA with some of my friends online. Because I know I'm going to look back when I'm 60, 70, 80 years old and regret the fuck out of my entire life if I don't. There's no reason for it. Yeah. Like, yes, will I be making less money? Absolutely. Are there more people I could coach potentially? Absolutely. Can I get more views, likes, shares, comment? The list is endless. Yes. but you're giving up something too. You have to choose which one you want to give up. If we weren't bound by the limit of time as human beings, do it all. But you can't. Once that time's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to spend your time living and enjoying and loving, you're really fucking missing the whole point.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like you got to ask yourself, where is the line drawn? Like, to what extent, and like, where is the balance, right? Because like, and people look at me too. They're like, Cal, you don't drink, you don't smoke, right? You don't enjoy yourself, you don't go out to parties. I don't enjoy doing any
your
of that
balance
stuff.
and your definitions are different.
Exactly, right? And so you got to really find out with. For me, I work on content creation 7 days a week, right? I go to the gym 6 days a week. Like, for me, really, there is no off day, right? Like, why? Because it's like, it's a lifestyle, right?
But you play Rocket League.
Exactly. No.
You play Fall Guys. Like that. Like,
Exactly.
I want people to understand that. It's like
exactly. And I have my own tendencies, right? And the pure message of me saying like, oh, there's no days off, work. No. It's, I don't consider it work, right? It's a part of my lifestyle. So what I'm saying is, if content creation, if editing, or if going to the gym, right? Or just your different habits, right? Of self-improvement or whatever the like, right? Is a part of your lifestyle, and you don't necessarily consider it work, if you don't consider it like going to a job to get money in order to, get the bag, right? That's different from work and the lifestyle that you're living, right? And it's, people may, I think the big message I'm trying to say here is, when you look at someone and you say, oh, bro, you're wasting your time, doing homework or, doing X, Y, and Z, right? That may be considered you're wasting your time. I just want people to realize, just take into consideration that each and every individual is different, right? We're all the same, but we're different at the same time, right? We have different habits and behaviors within our lifestyle that we think are enjoyable, right? So you might enjoy going out, partying, having sex, right? Doing all these different types of things. But someone might like to go home, spend time alone, read, right? Do homework. I like to do homework, right? I'm a fucking nerd, right? But like, I like to do that type of stuff. And
why are you doing it? That's the only thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you really got to take into consideration, is what you're doing, are you considering that like work? Are you considering it something that has to be done this moment in time, right?
Right.
And so if you're considering it a necessity, right, then most times it's something that is work, right? It's, I mean, depending on the situation that you're in.
But it's like, dude, like the only people, there's like less than 0.1% of the population that would actually enjoy their lives working 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
A very, very, very small minority of people enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And they should do that if that's what that means to them. But the definition of what a good life is and what's going to bring you happiness and fulfillment, and true happiness and fulfillment, is different for everybody. As corny as it sounds, it's different for everybody. For most people, like, I don't say this to toot my own horn. I'll use a different example because I just feel like I align with this. For somebody like Gary Vee, the fucker can work all day and feel great.
Yeah.
What's balanced for him is not what's balanced for 99% of people. 99% of people wouldn't want Gary's life because they'd be miserable working that many hours.
Yep.
He even says it in his own clips. He's like, listen, dude, I fucking work my ass off and I work all fucking day and all week, all year. Like, yes, he has the time for his family on the weekends and whatnot. But like what's balanced for him, what makes him happy, is so different than what would make you happy. You would never want to do that. He talks about like, if you want to be on 17 fucking softball teams, you should be on 17 fucking softball teams. If that's what's going to be happy, that's what's going to make you happy, and that means instead of making $200 grand a year, you're making $60 grand a year, but you love your life, why the fuck would you do anything else?
Yeah, it's worth it.
Why the fuck would you do anything else?
And I think, too, with that, it's you got to be able to put your foot down, right? When it comes to those things that you consider like things that have to get done, right? And so it's like, I love this example so much because it's sometimes like when you're in the rut of like working on a paper or a project, right? And you're just like, your mind is just so mentally attached to finishing that assignment, getting to the milestone, right? Getting to that standard that you want to satisfy yourself. And you're just exhausting yourself. You're exhausting your mind, right? But you're just so obsessed with achieving that standard.
Right.
But if you're able to put your foot down, right, and not be so obsessed with the money, not be so obsessed with constantly working, right, constantly just staying on your grind, right, and being able to be like, okay, I need some time to chill out. I need some time to go meditate. I need some time to go hang out with some friends, right? And rejuvenate yourself
100%.
for when you tackle that task the next day, and you'll be
100%.
10 times better.
100%, man. And it's like, if you look at whatever that balance is for you, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
When you know it's time to stop fucking around and going to parties, and you need more of a balance of, let's take it back a couple notches to working more, you'll feel it.
Yeah.
But what working more for you is totally different than everybody else in the entire world. Yeah. And that's fine. But listen to your intuition. Listen to what your body and your mind are telling you when it's time to kick into gear of kick back, have fun, laugh, enjoy, and time to put your head down and grind.
Yeah. And I think, too, just like another thing I just wanted to note is just a lot of times we get stuck because a lot of people don't know. Like, they don't know how to listen to their intuition, right? They don't know how to listen to these cues that their body has, right? So when they say it's like too much, like, oh, Cal, like, you really should probably take a step back and relax from writing about Aristotle and write all these different types of things, right? It's like you got to really chill out, right? But you're just like so dedicated, right? And all you care about is just getting this task done, right? People just really need to see the cues, right? They really just, like, as you said, need to listen to their body, right? It's self-awareness. It's as simple as that. And whether you're just so mentally attached or you're conforming to your friends' beliefs, or you're conforming to, not necessarily conforming, or you're just have a certain types of habits and beliefs that don't necessarily serve you in a way that's going to help you be happy. It's really about reflecting back on your life and maybe writing down or just taking a broad overview of, like, okay, what is my life like currently? How do I need to change it in order to get to a life that's going to allow me to enjoy it in such a manner that I can have a good balance? Yeah. So did you want to say anything else?
As important as it is to succeed and achieve, it's more important to enjoy.
Facts.
Tony Robbins.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode number 58 of the Conscious Cast. I'm your host, Cal, along with the boy,
Jason Scalora.
Dr. Jason /Scalora. Where can they find you, my man? Just like flip them off. This is how we be at the Myrrh.
What?
So you be at Myrrh's.
Oh, God. You can find me at Jason Scalora, JASONSCALORA. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, OnlyFans.
Oh!
Peace.
Whoa, dude. Love yourself because I love you.
Stay handsome.
Peace. Clogging out.